Hello everyone, we've got plenty of sunshine here at the Nürburgring. Welcome to the 5th round of DTM. We are psyched. And yeah, Nürburgring is one of the most challenging, most exciting racetracks in the DTM calendar, the green hell as they call it. And yeah, we're psyched, so let's do it. Let's go qualifying. And we've got a new leader of the championship, and that's this young man. It's Jack Aitken. He's 10 points ahead of Lukas Auer. There he is, waving to us, all ready to collect some valuable points. And the mechanics are, yeah, adjusting the tires, adjusting everything, because in just a few minutes, we're going to go qualifying. So let's do this. Here, you commentators, enjoy.
Brilliant. Morning, Verena. Morning, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. Yeah, sun's out. It's going to be another hot day. Not quite as hot as yesterday, but it is quite cool. Relative to yesterday's qualifying session, just 14 degrees at the moment, and the track temperature just a couple above that at 16 degrees. So fairly different conditions that we had for qualifying yesterday. There, a reminder of the new championship table after yesterday's win for Jack Aitken, his second of the season, propelling him into the championship lead. Lukas Auer, former championship leader, dropping to second, having finished in 6th place yesterday. He was potentially on for a podium, the Austrian, until they lost some time in the pit stop. Jordan Pepper is third in the standings after a good 4th place finish yesterday, and only 14 points between those three drivers, with Thomas Preining struggling in the Porsche yesterday, still scoring points in the top 10, but dropping down to 4th place in the championship standings. Now, qualifying coming up, 20 minutes to set the grid. Two drivers, though, whatever happens, are going to get a grid penalty. One of them is the driver that got his first podium yesterday, Ben Green. He's had 3 warnings during the course of the season, and so he will get a 3-place grid drop for the race. And the same is true of one of the championship contenders, Jordan Pepper. Sorry, both going to get 5-place grid position drops after 3 warnings in the course of the season. So that's the regulation. So they'll be dropping down whatever happens in this session. The top 3 from yesterday, which is Jack Aitken, Ben Green and Riccardo Feller, had a fantastic podium yesterday, a debut podium for Land Motorsport in their first season of the championship. They will all carry success ballast in the race. 20 kilograms on top of the weight of the car for Jack Aitken, 10 kilograms for Ben Green and 5 for Riccardo Feller. They do not have to use that in qualifying, only in the race. But there's also been a second update to the balance of performance. There was an update between qualifying and the race yesterday. There's another update overnight. No changes to the balance of performance weight, the balance of performance to equalise these cars, which are all different weights, all have different amounts of horsepower, all very different in their handling. And one of the things you can do is change the weight of the cars, add balance of performance weight. That hasn't changed, but you can adjust the amount of fuel flow into the cars with a lambda, and you can change the air restrictors on the cars for the normally aspirated cars. For the turbo-powered cars, you can tweak the amount of boost that they have available across the range of revs, so lower, mid and high revs. And for the Ferraris, the higher revs, 6,000 revs and above, they've reduced the amount of boost that they've got. There's also been a tweak for the Aston Martins, who have got more boost available to them, low and mid range. So that's the key changes overnight. And the other change overnight is that we had a change in the results, because for contact in the first lap with Mirko Bortolotti, René Rast was subsequently given a 15-second penalty, the equivalent of running through the penalty zone 3 times. There he is. So that dropped him from 7th in the standings down to 14th place yesterday. And obviously, he shuffled 1 or 2 or 7 drivers up the order, including Luca Engsley, who moved up to 7th, and Ben Durr, who moved up to 8th place. And with Ben's equal best result of the season overall yesterday, he got his 4th Rookie of the Year win, and has now moved ahead of Maurice Scuring into the rookie standings leadings. 235 points for him, 226 points for Maurice Scuring. So this was the incident yesterday on board with René Rast, Mirko Bortolotti to the right at the start of the race. There the contacts, both going around. And the Fabio Sciarra Mustang was in and around that as well, had to take evasive action. So that damaged the oil cooler for Mirko Bortolotti's car, and therefore damaged the engine. And a monumental effort by Abt overnight, because they had to get an engine brought in from Kempton back at base to replace Mirko Bortolotti's engine overnight. That's 500 kilometres away from this circuit. It's more than a 5-hour drive. The engine arrived at midnight. The team rebuilding Mirko Bortolotti's car until 6 o'clock this morning. And Martin Tomczyk, the team principal, has said it was an incredible effort by the entire team. They worked together fantastically, and I hope they're going to get some reward for that today. So brilliant team effort by everybody at ABS, who have had little or probably absolutely no sleep in most cases. But they've got the new engine in, and Mirko Bortolotti will take part in this qualifying session. So that's all the news overnight. Lots of talking points in yesterday's race. It was an absolute cracker of a race. And we had two podium firsts, one for Land Motorsport with that brilliant drive for Ricardo Fella, who at one point looked like he might win the race, and a first overall DTM podium for Ben Green as well. So 20-minute session to set the grid for this afternoon's 55-minute plus 1 lap race here at the Nürburgring. In the commentary box, I'm Chris Hartley, and good morning to Brian Oliver.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. What a perfect day to go racing here in the Eifel region. What a phenomenal job by ABS Sportsline to fit that engine, having driven it all that distance. The team paid for bed and breakfast. They only got breakfast, but we hope that's going to pay off today. Qualifying so important. The first lap yesterday was wild. So much scrapping. Of course, here at the Nürburgring, it's a legendary circuit, but overtaking not always that easy, and in that first lap a lot of drivers going for it, trying to make up those places. It shows how important qualifying is, because it was those towards the back of the pack that picked up the most damage. I understand that Sven Stopper had a few words to say to the drivers after yesterday's race, and I think an additional briefing might have been had. So hopefully some better behaviour during the race, certainly the start of it today. But actually yesterday's race turned out to be one of the absolute classics, certainly one that I'm planning on watching back at the first possible opportunity. But before all of that, we have the qualifying session. As is traditional at the moment, most of the cars come out, do their formation lap, and then back into the pits for the heat soak sequence, as one of the McLarens out, as the one of Ben Durr out at the moment as well. So a few not coming straight into the pits.
Yes, so going back to yesterday's win for Jack Aitken, his second, actually his first podium here, his third season of DTM now. It's his first podium here at the Nürburgring. It's a circuit where they've gone okay in the past, but never been right up there. But the team, Emil Frey, had a test here last week, used up one of their test days, and they said it was really fruitful. Ben Green said to me the weather was pretty similar. Temperatures were pretty similar to what we've got here, so it was a really successful test, and that's put them in the box seat all weekend long, really, with 3 of them filling the top 4 places on the grid. Thierry Vermeulen very unlucky yesterday, but podiums for the other 2 drivers, and the championship lead now as well. It was a first 1-2 finish in the championship for Emil Frey. And it was also the first ever 1-2 finish in the DTM for Ferrari. So Ferrari's never had a 1-2 in the championship since they first came in. There is Thierry Vermeulen, very unlucky yesterday, wasn't he, Brian? Because lots of cars were running off the road. There was this oil on the circuit for the first 2 laps, which is why the race eventually got red flagged. We had Zhang Guwen just running out of grip, going wide at turn 2, rejoining and then connecting with his teammate Maurice Skuring, who continued on for quite a long time after the restart, but the car was getting worse and worse. The suspension had damage, and in the end it fell apart on the front right, so we didn't see what had happened. We wondered if he'd maybe had another incident, but it was just a case of that first knock with the 2 Porsches eventually wearing down I think the track rod on the suspension at the front of Maurice's car, so he was out of the running. And then before that red flag as well, we had Maro Engel, who went wide, rejoined the circuit, and as he said to Verini yesterday, just misjudged with the dirty tyres how much braking he had to do. Just clipped the back right corner of Thierry Vermeulen's car, and that tipped him into a spin, dropped him down the order, and I think he had a damaged car after that because he wasn't particularly quick and only scraped a championship point in the end for 15th.
Yeah, for Thierry Vermeulen, the added frustration was that he could see how quick the other 2 Emil Frey Racing Ferraris were. He could see what that potential was. He has had such a lot of bad luck. Twice now, Thierry Vermeulen has started on pole position, and twice that has turned into a 3rd place finish. So he's still looking for that top step He's seen his teammates do it. He saw that with Jack Aitken yesterday, and he'll certainly be looking for better luck today. We know there's pace in that Ferrari. It's going to be interesting to see how the pace changes following that BOP change overnight. And of course, he will have a car that is lighter than his two teammates.
Yeah, because they've got a success bias. You've got that boost change, and yeah, speaking to Jack Aitken yesterday, he was sort of fully expecting there might be a change. He said it's you can see why. He said it kind of looks bad because we've had this test. The Ferrari has always been okay here, but it's never been mega here. You know, I had a good day. Thierry always goes well around here. It's one of the tracks he really likes. And Ben has had his best weekend for the whole season, really. So it all clicked for the drivers, and he says it kind of makes it look bad. But it just was happened that we all went well yesterday. So he won't be too surprised that they've had a boost reduction. So we'll see how it affects things. But you're right, Thierry Vermeulen's got a really good chance of coming through today if he can get qualifying done. As usual, there's not much track activity for the first half of the session. Going back to yesterday's third place for arguably driver of the day, Riccardo Fella. What an effort that was. 11th on the grid, led the race. He had an early pit stop, and in the end, he said the tyres were just going on me at the end of the race. We didn't have the ultimate pace. We had good pace, not quite the ultimate pace, but the tyres, because I pitted earlier than most, were just going on me towards the end of the race. So it was a real battle to fend off Jordan Pepper. You're looking at now to hold on to that podium place. But he said it felt like a win for the team. And he said, you know, I've had a bad season in GT World Challenge. The potential's been here in DTM. We've never quite got our act fully together. He said, so I was sort of feeling a bit demotivated. You know, it's not been a good season. Things have gone against me. He said, I'm fully motivated again now, though. I'm ready to go. I really enjoyed that. So it was nice to see Riccardo back on the podium for the first time in more than a year, actually, since the Lausitz Ring last year, because he had a tough season at Abt last year, didn't he?
Yes, and I think even he was surprised to suddenly find himself at the sharp end of the grid after the pit stop sequences, but they played a blinder there, didn't they? They Land Motorsport, who's still very much learning the ropes. It's weird to say that about such a legendary team, but of course in DTM, performance pit stops, Land Motorsport learning the ropes as well. OK,
while we're waiting for cars to hit the track, let's go down to Verena in the pits.
And I'm here with Uli Fritz from HRT. And Uli, perhaps you could just explain to us, to the viewers, why in qualifying the teams take their time before they send out the cars.
Yeah, in the end, we are not allowed to heat the tires. That means you need to bring the tires up to temperature. And, you know, we have all the different kinds of cars and concepts of cars. So every car treats its tires differently. And every team has a special procedure for that. For example, with the Merc in the last year, we had to do quite some preparation laps and heat up soaks and whatever. With the Mustang now, which is eating more tires, we are just going for the laps in the end of the session. But I think all in common is that at the end of the session, all cars are out on track, and that's what the spectators want to see.
Absolutely. And expectations for today for the Mustang and the qualifying?
I think yesterday we were struggling quite a lot on especially race pace, but also in qualifying. Yeah, we hope that maybe BOP helps us a bit today, and also the temperatures are a bit colder. But yeah, we will find out in the afternoon, I would say.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Uli, and back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yes, so good to understand why the cars aren't necessarily running around trying to get quick lap times in for the first half of the session. Only Fritz there, his huge experience, many years in the DTM. First, of course, with Mercedes and overseeing their projects, and these days with HRT, Hubert Haupt's team, based just across from the circuit. We've had more than 70 races in the DTM now, and explaining how things work. With the Ford Mustangs, actually yesterday, they were both pretty quick. Arjun Maini was looking good for a top 10 finish, but he picked up damage in that first stint of the race before the red flags. There was a ton of gaffer tape on the front of his Mustang, and eventually the car failed and he retired. But the pace was pretty good for Arjun, who got that excellent 5th place finish at the Norris Ring last time out. And Fabio Scherer was quick as well, but he'd had to spin, so he's right around that Mirko Bortolotti-René Rast incident. It was actually investigated at one point, but when then we saw replays, we saw he was right behind it, but didn't get involved in it. But then had to, he said there was a spun car in front of me, and I had two choices: hit the car or tip it into a spin. And there was oil down as well. He said, so I tipped it into a spin. He got going again, but obviously that dropped him down the order. And he tried to fight his way through it, but couldn't quite get into the points, the Swiss driver. So hopefully they'll be able to continue on. In terms of the team's championship, Manthey lead that, but they didn't have a great day yesterday with retirements for 2 of their drivers and a top 10 finish, but not a sparkling race for Thomas Preining, who had a lot of weight on the car with the success ballast from his win at the Nürburgring, plus the Porsches all been given more BOP weight than they had either at the Nürburgring or here last year, 20 kilograms heavier than they were here last year. So they were caught in the championship. They still lead the team's championship, but Emil Frey, with that brilliant result yesterday, went from 4th to 2nd place in the championship standings. So, Brian, cars on track, starting to look busy now.
Yes, now that moment where they're starting to generate the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. And of course, with the sun beating down as it is, the air temperature is just 13.6, but the track temperature is starting to climb, 16.2. As the track gets warmer, as more rubber is laid down, the track gets quicker. And as we saw yesterday, I think towards the end of this session is where we're going to see the fastest of the times. At the moment, nobody has put in a representative time. So they're still circulating at the moment. The Mustangs, we're told, do not have issues getting the tyres up to temperature. In fact, they get up to temperature too quickly in some cases. But most of the cars out there now, it's the build laps, I think we call them. We have the out lap, then the build laps as they get the temperature of those tyres into the window. And then when the temperatures are there, they've got the space on the track, it's time for the push laps. We've got all 24 cars out on track at the moment. So getting the temperatures right and finding that space, that's what they're looking to do now. In the next few minutes, we should start to see some competitive times.
Out laps, build laps, and then gun laps as they really go for it. Should be able to get 2 quick laps out of the tyres. Usually the tyres fade on the third, so quite often on the third flying lap, you'll see a driver getting personal best sector times in sector 1, maybe sector 2, but then the tyres just maybe can't quite last for the full 3 laps. They get 3 sets of new Pirelli tyres to run across the course of this weekend, but they have to last 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races as well. In terms of the sorts of times we're looking at, well, yesterday pole position was a 1:21.155 for Jack Aitken. He was only half a tenth of a second away from the lap record, which was set 2 years ago by Mirko Bortolotti in the SSR Performance Lamborghini, the reigning champion, with that lap record of 1:25.118. Whether we'll go that quick today remains to be seen, but we ought to be in the 1:25s, that's for sure, even though it's a bit cooler. Nicola Bart sets the best lap of his session so far, starts to get going. Third quickest, it's only a 1:30. He had his 24th birthday yesterday. A bit more boost, low and mid-range for the Astons today. It's their second uplift of boost, so the Come To You racing drivers might be a bit more competitive today with that. And Timo Glock, with that penalty, 15-second penalty for René Rast, was bumped up to 10th place yesterday, so that equalled his best result of the season so far. Ben Durr in 8th. It was a good day, wasn't it, for McLaren and for Durr Motorsport?
Yeah, and Timo Glock with the car that Ben Durr has been running up until this event this year. Looks like he's a little bit more dialed in, a little bit happier in that car. Certainly he was very happy after the free practice session where he was quickest in the second session. But Ben Durr in the unloved other McLaren car that Timo Glock had been driving this year actually looked pretty good as Glock goes quickest now, the 1:28, still some time to come. But Ben Durr in the unloved car looking pretty comfortable. I think he might be quite happy to stick with that for the rest of the season.
Yeah, finished 8th yesterday, equalling his best in the championship, Ben Durr, as I say, moving into the Rookie of the Year championship lead as well, with that retirement for his closest rival in that respect. Car running over the line now, the orange Porsche, the Manthey EMA Junior Porsche of Maurice Scuring. So we'll see how it goes. Timo Glock's done a 1:28.6, but they're going to get a lot quicker than this, so that's the benchmark time. Nicky Tier might be the one to watch now. He's been consistently scoring points of late in the Lamborghini, the Abt Lamborghini, coming along to Abt with his teammate from last year. They both raced Lamborghinis for SSR Performance last year, Nicky Tim and Mirko Bortolotti. Nicky's had slightly the better of the results so far this season. He was qualifying well at Nürburgring as well, but the race went against him. So he now sets the quickest time so far, 1:26.7. So the time started to come down with these cooler temperatures. It's maybe taking a lap longer to get them up to speed as we get some team radio.
I will be quiet on the radio from now on.
So a 44.1 for Maurice Skuring through the first sector. That's the absolute best so far. We were into the high 43s through sector 1 yesterday. Best middle sector has gone to Marco Wittmann, who had a good drive yesterday from 14th on the grid to come through to 5th. He was actually challenging for a podium at one point. Looks like Marco's backed off in the BMW coming into the final corner. But Maurice Skuring has not backed off. Struggled yesterday. Said he had an issue with the car in qualifying. Then, of course, he got that damage in the race. So it was one of those days to forget. But he's been, up until yesterday, he'd scored points in every race since the opening weekend of the season. And he goes quickest, 1:26.545. Said to him last night, tomorrow's another day. He said, yeah, that's it. Tomorrow's another day. You always got another chance in DTM on a weekend. Ben Durr, though, has done the absolute best first sector. The first one to break the 44-second barrier through that first sector, which takes you all the way through the AMG Arena and Turn 5 as you turn off the Grand Prix loops. Done a personal best second sector as well. So the McLaren might be about to go into provisional pole. Gilles Magnussy's there at the moment in the Aston Martin, but Benny's quicker and a 1:26.2, knocking on the door of the 1:25s now. Nicky Tim also improved to a 1:26.4, so it's Durr from Tim, Magnussy in third, Skuring fourth, Preining fifth, Gunon in sixth, and René Rast seventh. No, eighth. The fella's just gone through in seventh again.
Less than 3.5 minutes remaining of the session. Still a lot of drivers yet to do their push laps. So we're hoping for no yellows or red flags in the closing part of this session. At the moment, yesterday's winner, Jack Aitken, down in 22nd place. But as I say that, he jumps up to 13th with a 1:28.838. Time starting to tumble now, but the time also started to run out. Gilles Magnus, quickest of anybody in Sector 1 and Sector 2, so great time there from the Aston Martin as Marco Wittmann crosses the line to break the beam. He is in 12th.
Gilles Magnus on a charge here then. What can the Belgian driver do? Can he get his best grid of the year? It's a 12th so far. It's the best he's managed in terms of qualifying at the Nürburgring. Looking good. He goes on to provisional pole, 1:25.7. So Gilles Magnus for Come To You Racing. What a story this would be if the Aston Martin driver could get pole. Absolute best in 2 of the 3 sectors. Maurice Skuring improves as well. Absolute best final sector to go second. Thomas Preining is third. And then Ben Durr fourth now. Thierry Vermeulen puts a good Ferrari lap in to go fifth quickest. That becomes sixth because Jules Gunon gets up the order, and Ben Durr goes to the top of the times, 1:25.723. McLaren in first place. Timo Glock was third a moment ago, but others have improved, so he's down to 8th place now. And René Rast in the BMW now goes third quickest.
So Ben Durr didn't set any purples, but it was just quick in all 3 sectors, dialed it all in together. So that was very rapid as we look at Timo Glock picking up a bit of curve as he comes around to complete his lap. So the number 16 car coming into this lap, a mid-order 11th place for Timo Glock. So is this going to be an improvement on that 11th place? He comes across to stop the clock, and it's 10th. So up 1 position, a 1:26.372.
Good first sector for Thierry Vermeulen. It's a personal best. It's a 43.793, so it's about a 10th and a half away in that first sector from the fastest first sector. But if you can pull it together in the middle of the lap, he's going to move up the order. Jordan Pepper has gone third, but he's got a 5-place grid penalty, remember. So that put him back to 8th place. Wittmann improving to 5th overall. Maro Engel into 6th place. And Maro Engel yesterday and Jules Gunon, the 2 Windward drivers, have both lost their record of being unbeaten in terms of finishing the races this season. They've both finished in the points in every single race, and likewise, Engin Guwen had finished in the points in every single race. But hey, that run came to an end yesterday. It was a chaotic race. So Gunon goes third quickest with his lap time. Mirko Bortolotti has called it early. In the background, kicking up the dust, is Nicky Tim on the ragged edge. René Rast hasn't improved in the first 2 sectors. He's still trying, but I don't think he's going to improve either. So this is looking very, very good for Ben Durr, 1:25.723. What can Max Powell do? A personal best through the first sector. Vermeulen went up to 8th place with a personal best lap time, but couldn't quite get into the 1:25s. Powell goes through. Jack Aitken is going to come across the line. Yesterday's pole sitter, yesterday's race winner. Where's he going to be? Only 15th for Jack Aitken. So that boost reduction looks like it's made a big difference, and maybe the cooler temperature's not helping either. Maro Engel up next, Brian.
So the clock is about to strike 0. Anybody who's on a lap already, that will count. Ben Durr continues to improve, quicker again in Sector 1, the quickest of anybody. To remind you, that is the car that nobody wanted to drive. Ben Durr in that McLaren, quickest of anybody in Sector 1, continuing to improve. Lucas Auer was towards the bottom of the timing screens, but he's jumped up now to P9. He's also trying to improve personal best in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He comes around to complete his lap, but Ben Durr, what a sensational job for him as we look at Lucas Auer crossing the line, and he goes quickest. Lucas Auer, fastest of all. Is Ben Durr going to be able to do anything about it in the closing stages of this qualifying? Yes, he does. A 1:25.620.
Fantastic. Auer pipped him by 0.03 of a second, and then Durr came back and found another 10th or so. Jordan Pepper is on a charge, but he ain't going to get pole because he's got this 5-place grid position penalty from picking up 3 penalty warnings over the course of the season. So he's just got to try and get as high at the order as he can. He's only 27,000ths of a second away from the best time of Ben Durr. Ben Durr, Lucas Auer, Jules Magnus, the top 3 as it stands. To say Pepper is not going to start in the top 3 because of this penalty. Got Luca Exler out there still trying to improve as well. Pepper comes through. What's the lap time going to give him? Position was 4th, but that'll become 9th place. Not sure Luca Exler's got enough in hand to go any higher up the order either. No, he hasn't. So what an effort by Durr Motorsport. Ben Durr, in his 2nd season of DTM, gets his first ever DTM pole position in last year's car, remember, a 1:25.620 by exactly 1/10 of a second. He pips the driver that until yesterday had been leading the championship. Lucas Auer, though, will be pretty happy with that. 2nd place, above his championship rival. Jack Aitken's back in 16th place for this one, and Jack has got 20 kilograms of success ballast to carry round in the race. Lucas picks up 2 championship points as well to reduce the gap from 10 to 8 points, and he's in a good position for the race. Jules Magnus as well. Well done, Jules. Well done, Come To You Racing. 3rd place, comfortably, his best qualifying.
Great job, really good.
Could say that. Absolutely mega job. He'll be delighted. He's been so improved, hasn't he, over the course of the year? And there are tears in the eyes. They cannot believe it down at Durr Motorsport. But he was up there, really, for the whole session, wasn't he?
What a story this is turning out to be at Durr Motorsport. This is the car that Timo Glock has not been able to get around the circuit because of issues with the handling, but it seems to suit Ben Durr's driving style. He feels like a man reborn at this weekend, going the quickest of all, and Durr Motorsport, their first ever pole position in the DTM. What a way to do it.
And the first pole position in the DTM for McLaren. We saw Ryan Durr, the team principal, Ben's dad there, looking absolutely delirious. Fantastic. Ben Durr is on pole position for this afternoon's race. Lucas Auer starts with him on the front row. Jules Magnus with a magnificent 3rd place. Remember, they're only half a season into their DTM adventure. Jordan Pepper qualifies 4th, but will start 9th on the grid with a 5-place grid penalty. So Jules Gounon will move up from 5th to 4th. Arjun Maidi as well snuck through that session, but 6th quickest overall. He'll start 5th on the grid. Rennie Rast finished 7th in the session. Marco Wittmann, Maro Engel, and Thierry Vermeulen rounding out the top 10. Maurice Skuring, much better qualifying, 11th today. Porsche's all together with Guan and Preining right behind him, 12th and 13th. Nicky Tim 14th, Nicola Bart 15th, Jack Aitken back in 16th place, and Ben Green 17th. So the top 2 from yesterday, 16th and 17th. Ricardo Feller, who was 3rd yesterday, is 18th. So how about that? They're all together, Aitken, Green and Feller, but rather than 1st, 2nd, 3rd like they were yesterday, the 16th, 17th and 18th. Glock 19th, Engstler 20th, Bortolotti 21st. He called the session quite early compared to the others, but a magnificent job from the team just to get him out there today. Fabio Scherer, Tom Callender and Max Powell behind, and their confirmation that with those points scored, 2 for qualifying, Lucas Auer moves on to 121 points and closes the gap to 8, but he's going to be in a much better position to score big points in the race than Jack Aitken today.
And 1.1 seconds covering the entire grid. What a phenomenal job. And most improved driver in the last year, Ben Durr. Remember, when he started, understandably, it was propping up the bottom of the grid. Now he's at the other end. He's on pole position. What an ascendancy for the young driver.
Yeah, and so Timo Glock has had a hand in that because he's brought with him the likes of Richard Selwyn, some experienced people in the team. They're really helping to build that team into a regular front runner. So well done to them. Let's get some reaction from Verena.
And I'm here with Luki Auer, who managed P2. So good job there, you did. So you're 8 points behind the championship leader now. So now it's your chance to pick up the championship leadership again because Jack is only 16th. So I guess that's going to be the aim for the race later on.
Let's see. The aim is to stay maybe on the podium or top 5. I think the other two guys are very fast, and but my team did a mega job. The balance was really good, and let's see what the race brings.
All right, let's see. Thank you so much, Luki. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yes, understated as always, Lucas. Yeah, not going for the win. I'm just going to try and get top 5. But you know he'll get in the car, put the lid on, and he'll try and get the race win. Of course he will. I'll fancy his chances, I think, because he's got some lesser experienced drivers around him, hasn't he, with Ben Durr first and Gilles Magnus in third. Back to Verena.
Gilles Magnus, congratulations. It's your first top 3, so you did a great job in the qualifying. Excited about that, and then obviously looking forward to the race and hopefully managing to get your podium there.
Yeah, really happy. The team and ourselves, we kept on making steps forward. This one confirms again that we keep on getting forward, so really happy about that. I know the race is going to be a bit more difficult. On degradation, we're struggling a bit, but we'll make the maximum of it and we'll take the maximum points today.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, mega effort by Come To You Racing. Only 2 years running GT cars. Only 4 weekends until this point running in DTM. There's Ryan Adore, a very, very happy Ryan Adore. The family all delighted with that. What an effort by the team. They have made huge strides forward. Ben had already been impressing. 8th yesterday. He'd had a 7th place finish at Oschersleben. He's had several top 10 finishes. His best qualifying up until this point was 5th at the Lausitzring, which was a very good effort as well. But here he is, absolutely top of the tree with some very well-established names behind him on the grid. So let's see what he can do in the race. But he's certainly been cutting his teeth, mixing it with some fast drivers, some champions in the races so far this season. So we won't be scared to get his elbows out. Super slow-mos are the top 3. Gilles Magnus in the Aston, Lucas Auer in the Mercedes, both of whom you've heard from with Verena. And again, Lucas continuing on. He looked good for a podium yesterday. Good pace in that Mercedes, good pace from the Austrian. It was just the pit stop that did for him. So he'll certainly be one of the favourites for the race win today. But Ben Durr, can he make it a dream weekend? Can he turn pole position into a race win? Can he turn it into a podium? Either would be good, but of course, when you start on pole position, there's only one thing you ever want, and that is to finish where you start the race. But come what may, that has been a brilliant, brilliant effort, and you can see what it meant to everybody back in the garage, Brian.
What an incredible story. When you arrived at the circuit this morning, I bet that wasn't your 1, 2, 3 on your prediction for the grid. Great stuff. And Jules Gounon up there as well. Arjun Maini, good qualifying from him in the Mustang,
very
up
good.
in 6th place. So there's some good pace there. Rene Rast in 7th, Wittmann there as well. Oh, it's going to be really interesting. And Maurice Scheuring, Thierry Vermeulen just behind as well. This is shaping up to be another classic this afternoon.
Another very, very different day, yeah. Poor Ben Green's got a 5-place grid penalty. He's going to be back in 22nd place. The race then, coming up at 1:30 this afternoon. From Brian Oliver and me, Chris Hartley in the commentary box, that's it for now. And back down to Verena in the pit lane.
What an exciting pole position for Ben Durr. Congratulations. Wow, we've got a big smile on your face. Obviously, you did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've just no words. Epic day today. Yeah, we proved that all the work which the team put in is, now we can get something out of it. So it's just an amazing feeling. So thanks to the whole team, to McLaren and to everyone. It's just amazing. And yeah, the lap was epic today. I put everything together, and yeah, that's where we end up. Today's my dad's birthday, so I think this is the perfect gift to him. So yeah, thanks to everybody.
Happy birthday to your dad. Congratulations. An epic qualifying. Make it an epic race. We're looking forward to that later on. And yeah, see you then. And now here are the highlights. Bye-bye.